Anyway, good evening to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Again, my name is Al Galela. I'm KGOR from the Cleveland chapter. So it's 11:02 here in Eastern Standard Time. It's 11:02 in the morning in the Philippines, and I think minus 3, 7, 7 o'clock in in California. Feel free to chime in with your comments. So what's been going on with you guys? It's springtime. Me and my wife, we started spring cleaning. We had toys, baby toys, and kids toys that we had to get rid of. We used Facebook Market to sell some of the stuff, and we made like $23, which is better than nothing. And things just hanging out in the basement. So wanted to give you guys some time until people start coming in. So anyway, today we're going to talk about finally the travels of Dr. Rizal in the U.S. En route to London. He actually went, this is his second time to leave the Philippines. The first time when he was 22 years old, now he's 27. He left the Philippines in duress because the Spaniards, let me turn this down, the Spaniards were giving him a hard time with their family. Their family is being discriminated upon, and because of safety issues, that's one of the two reasons he left for another outside of the Philippines. The one reason too is because he felt that he could do more outside the Philippines. He has more leeway, has more freedom in writing about what's going on in the Philippines than if he was in the Philippines. He was 27, a doctor, and very mature for his age. He has already published the Noli Me Tangere in 1886. And so he's an accomplished person already at a very young age of 27. In fact, on his way to the United States in the ship, he was asked by this one toddler that he learned that Rizal was from the Philippines. So he asked about, do you know this man called Rizal, is what they call Rizal, who wrote the Noli Me Tangere? And to the kid's amazement, Rizal was right there. So anyway, so now we talked about Rizal being in the ship for 6 days after docking in San Francisco. He docked in San Francisco with coolies, they call it, Chinese coolies. Chinese coolies are non-skilled railroad workers, and during that time there was election coming up, and they thought that it would be a good political ploy to show the voters that they care about them by not giving the coolies, they call them that time, a hard time to get in the country. Although it was obvious that there was no cholera in Hong Kong, according to the consul general, and they were given an okay to travel. That ploy was still used by the local people there to not let the coolies come in right away. So eventually Rizal was able to come out of the ship, dock, embark down the ship, and this was let me see here. This was in the 4th of let me see, the 4th of May in 1888. Incidentally, wanted to tell you that I've been using Citus book for all this, for my citations and my main resource. So let me just show you. I don't know if you can see this. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But this is San Francisco back then. Rizal embarked here in the Embarcadero, and he stayed in Stockton Street, 312 Stockton Street, the Plaza Hotel. And Plaza Hotel back then was a nice hotel, still is. He stayed there for 2 days, from May 4 to May 6. He made mention of him paying $4 per day, and that's for everything with bath. Back in the day, I guess you have to pay for your bath. But so that was Stockton Street. He also went to Grant Avenue right there, which is about half a mile. So he probably walked. And this is Chinatown. He mentioned about Chinatown in his diary. In fact, he made a diary and sent these letters to his friends Ponce and Blumentritt. He also made mention of Market Street. Market Street, if you go straight, because this is by car, which is 3.7 miles away from the hotel. And he was again impressed with the Market Street and the main bustle in during that time in San Francisco. He mentioned about Senator Leland Stanford of the Stanford University, who back then started giving money to the school, and they named it after him. He was a millionaire senator of California. Incidentally, the president at that time in 1888 was President Grover Cleveland. Now, Grover Cleveland is from Cleveland, Ohio. It was named after him, and I'm from Cleveland. So there's a reference there too on Cleveland, Ohio. He docked in the Embarcadero right here. Okay, and he went to Grant Avenue, now named Grant Avenue, which is also Chinatown, and he stayed in 312 Stockton Street for $4. He said he got everything including bath. I guess bathing back then was a premium. Of how impressed he was on the main street, which is if you can see it, Market Street. So by ferry boat, let me check this out. He went from San Francisco, okay, on May 6th. He went from San Francisco to Oakland, and Oakland is right there. He used the ferry to go to Oakland, and in Oakland he boarded his first train, went to Sacramento, had supper there. I don't know if you can see it, Sacramento right there. So this is Oakland for this first train. I'm sorry about the picture. I didn't know it wouldn't come out very well. Um, and he went on route to Reno through Sacramento, and I guess they stopped there, and he had supper for 75 cents and slept at the coach. Uh, the um, the next day on 5/7, right? This is Reno, Nevada. He arrived in Reno, Nevada in the morning and had breakfast there. And he made notice of an American Indian who was wearing a semi-European and Indian suit. He wasn't really impressed from his travel from Oakland to Reno. In fact, it was pretty barren. There's really nothing, and he made mention about this, except for the snow-topped mountains. He said that it was a lonely route, and there was nothing there, just desert, unpopulated, and very, very lonely. He went to Reno, right? He was in Reno on 5/7, and he was on his way to Ogden, Utah. So here it's about 12-hour ride. I don't know if you can see that 12-hour train ride. I imagine this is a train route that he used, and that was a 12-hour train ride to Ogden, Utah, the third state that he was able to see. Now in Ogden, Utah, on his writing, he mentioned that he saw again fields, more fields, horses, oxen, and trees, and yellow flowers. He also was mentioning about Salt Lake City. So Salt Lake City is somewhere around here, right there. That's Salt Lake City. Where am I? Right there, Salt Lake City. And this is Ogden. So when he reached Salt Lake City, he was talking about this island, and he compared it to Talim Island in Laguna de Bay. Also, he also mentioned about seeing in Salt Lake City. He also mentioned seeing Mormon boys in Farmington. Okay, so there's Ogden and there's Farmington. Incidentally, again, the Mormons started in Cleveland, in Kirtland, Ohio. Again, another tidbit there. So he saw Mormons probably for the first time, maybe on a stop. And also he was referring to this island here that he compared to Talim Island in Laguna de Bay. So again, he saw fields again, and sheep, cows, and horses. And it was not thickly populated. In fact, it was pretty barren, according to him. One thing that impressed him was that the women were serving tables in the restaurants. That is different from the Philippines, where women are not supposed to work, and there was a lot of jobs in this area, especially in the mining. So the women had to work, since all the men worked in mining and eventually the Hoover Dam. So in Provost, he changed train. This is the second time he changed train in Provost, Utah. Right there, he changed train in Provost, Utah for the second time, and he ate there too, for 75 cents again. Provo, Utah. Let me see if I can see it. Provo, Utah. He went to Colorado, Denver. Um, and in Denver, this was on May 9. It was again a barren territory. There was nothing there, nothing happening, especially by the tracks. You can hardly see anybody. There was more trees, and he was saying that finally he saw snow in the mountains because they have to go through the mountains in Colorado. Um, and I guess it made his day because he wrote about it, climbing the mountains and seeing snow, going through tunnels made of rocks, supported by big rocks, he says. He also made comment about an American who was a porter in the Pullman car, was a thief, so I don't know, maybe he saw something there. Again, the Colorado, barren, lifeless territory, many horses. The next trip he went in May 10 was in Omaha, Nebraska, and from Denver, Colorado to Omaha, Nebraska, that was a 9-hour and 10-minute train ride. And in Omaha, he was impressed. This is since San Francisco, was the bigger city, the next bigger city that he saw, and he was impressed with that river. Excuse me. He didn't see the Mississippi River because he went through that at nighttime, and he was asleep. So he went and saw the Missouri River. And again he compared it to the Philippines. The second time he referenced the Philippines, he said that the Missouri River is 2 times as wide, at the widest part, than the Pasig River, when he saw the Missouri River. Now next, he went from Omaha, Nebraska, right here, right? He arrived in Omaha, Nebraska on 5/10, and he arrived Chicago, right here. I don't know if you can see it. He arrived Chicago on the 11th, and he actually liked Chicago, and he said that it was near. In his word, it shows our nearness to Chicago. One thing that he noticed in Chicago was that there was a lot of cigar stores, and each one of the cigar stores, he said, has an Indian figure right here. He went to Niagara Falls, and he stayed there the 12th. I guess he went through the English territory, which according to Side, he went through Canada, Buffalo, New York, right here somewhere. And he was not impressed with the Niagara Falls, actually. And again, he compared it to Pagsanghan Falls, and he said that Niagara Falls is not as beautiful nor fine as Pagsanghan Falls. But of course, it's much bigger and more imposing, right? Enlarge it. That's Niagara Falls back in 1888. Now the Pagsanghan Falls is right there. Now you tell me if this is more beautiful than this. So again, Rizal was really biased, I think, thinking that Niagara Falls was not as beautiful as Pagsanghan Falls. I guess, being Filipino at heart, he was biased about it, and we know why, because he loved this country. Now now I've totally lost my video. From Niagara Falls, he went to Albany. That was in Albany. He arrived in the 13th of May. He said it's another big city, just like Omaha, Nebraska. So at this point, he's seen San Francisco, Omaha, Nebraska, Albany as big cities, and he said Chicago was comparable to. It's relatable to the Philippines, whatever he meant by that. Now, in Albany, um, he liked the landscape. He liked the Hudson, uh, the Hudson River. The Hudson River transverses Albany to New York City. He said that it's very busy, a lot of commerce going on, and he was impressed by the Hudson River. It's a little more solitary than the Pasig River, according to him. New York City, and he stayed there for 3 nights, and he called this a big town. I guess Big Apple uh, wasn't used by then. He called this the big town. He saw the George Washington Memorial, which looks the same now than it looked in 1888. I saw a picture. I wish I could show you a picture. But he saw that, and he was impressed with it, and he actually said that, quote, he is a great man, talking about George Washington, who I think has no equal in this country. And that really is the highlight, I guess, two men having seen each other, I guess, in a way. Rizal seeing the monument, not knowing that he would be having his own monument in Bagong Bayan. So on May 16, he left for Liverpool on the City of Rome. He passed the Statue of Liberty, and the City of Rome is the second biggest boat then. And basically and then he went to his adventure in London. But anyway, I hope we will see each other again, and please like, share this video to your friends and to those who want to learn about Knights of Rizal and Jose Rizal. Thank you so much, and good night.